on satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Making headlines first at 9, under control. President Maithripala Sirisena says present government is strong enough. War crimes revisited. Human rights groups file a lawsuit against former Army Commander Jayat Jayasuriya. The government denies allegations. Beyond the 20th Amendment, Minister Rajitha Senaratne says that the government also plans to hold presidential and general elections on the same day. No hiding. Perpetual Treasury's IT executive admits lying to CID yesterday. And in international headlines, outrageous. North Korea says missile over Japan was the first step in more launches. Live across Sri Lanka, this is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7. Good evening everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. We begin tonight with a look at the local stories. President Maithripala Sirisena says that defections from the government do not matter to him and he will continue to govern until 2020. The president made these remarks during discussions with heads of media institutions at the president's residence in Colombo today.
Responding to a question posed by a journalist regarding the delays in the audit bill, the president said that he regrets the delay and urged the relevant sections to expedite the matter. Journalists also asked the president about the future activities of the unity government. Replying to questions, the president said that withdrawals of members from the ruling party do not matter as he will ensure the government continues until 2020. President Maithripala Sirisena further stated that if the government does not continue to hold its official term, then it would be a conspiracy.
The construction of the Kadawatha-Kerawalapiti Expressway, a part of the Outer Circle Highway project, is seeing rapid progress. The expressway is a part of the government's Sustainable Development Program and the project was initiated in January 2016 under the direct supervision of the Road Development Authority.
The Kadawatha-Kerawalapiti Expressway, which will stretch for 9.6 kilometers, is comprised of 4 lanes and 5 flyovers and includes a section that goes over the Colombo-Katnayaka Expressway, marking the first time in Sri Lanka that one expressway is built over another. The project, which cost 77.7 billion rupees, is funded via Chinese financial loans and government grants. The expressway is expected to minimize traffic congestion in Colombo city as it allows vehicles from the Southern Expressway to enter the Central Expressway bypassing Colombo. The expressway is slated to open in 2019.
Chief Minister of Western Province Isuradeva Priya states that he has concerns to which he cannot agree even though he does not oppose all provincial elections being held on the same day. Chief Minister Deva Priya made this statement at a media briefing held this morning.
The joint opposition had already taken a decision to defeat the 20th Amendment to the Constitution proposed for all provincial councils. The authority I have as the Chief Minister, the authority of the Governor and the authority of the President with regard to the Provincial Council have been altered in this bill. We do not oppose the proposal to hold Provincial Council elections on the same day. However, we do not agree to Provincial Councils being dissolved midway. Also, we cannot agree to an alteration of the authority held by the Chief Minister, the Governor and the President. What we propose is the tenure of the last Provincial Council to be established, which is the Provincial Council. The date of the election cannot be even a single day after its expiration, nor can it be a year in advance. We have voiced these concerns to both the President and the Prime Minister, and we are awaiting a written response from the government on Monday.
Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne today responded to allegations on the shortage of medicine in hospitals made by the leader of the Janatha Vimukthi Peramuna, Anurakumara Dissanayaka, at a recent parliamentary session. He further commented on the recent appointment of the new Justice Minister and also on the draft bill of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution, which was rejected by some provincial councils.
The Cabinet of Ministers approved granting relief for families affected by the Umaoya Multipurpose Development Project as per the recommendations of the Cabinet Subcommittee. A proposal made by the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs to enter into a loan agreement with Austria for a concessionary loan of 9.8 million euros to obtain 100 ambulances for government hospitals was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. A proposal made by the Provincial Councils and Local Government Minister Faiza Mustafa to amend Article 5 of the Municipal Councils Ordinance, Article 5 of Urban Councils Ordinance and Article 4 of Pradeshya Sabha Act as amended by Act number 21 of 2012 was also approved by the Cabinet. According to the recommendations of the Cabinet Subcommittee, the proposal made by the Minister of Primary Industries Daya Gamage to declare 900 rupees as the certified price for pepper was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. This program will only be in effect until the market price of pepper eclipses 900 rupees.
එමෙතන ඒ වගේම පෞගිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ අනුරකුමාර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඔබතුමාට බරපතල චෝදනාවක් කෙල්ලලා.
මූලික බොරුනේ.
It is an utter lie. We are speaking about drought and he brought up medicine, which shows that it was planned. I asked which hospital is running out of medicine. I think he then guessed and said Monragala. No hospital is running out of medicine. If there are any such shortages, the director of the relevant hospital is held responsible. The electronic media reported that a discussion was held at the parliament on the 23rd of August over doctors of the Monragala hospital prescribing medicine from outside for patients. I spoke to pharmacists and doctors personally in this regard and could not unearth any information about this. If we run into a medicine shortage due to any reason, and if we can get the particular medicine within the district, province or any other provinces, a 24-hour mechanism is in place to address it. This is the true state of things.
මේක තමයි සත්‍ය තත්ත්වය.
අලුතෙන් අධිකරණ ඇමතිතුමියෙක් පත් කරලා තියෙනවා. දැන් පෞගිය කාලේ දැන් චෝදනා එල්ල වුණා නඩු හොයන්නේ මේකට විසඳුම දෙන්නේ නැහැ නැත්. දැන් ඉදිරියේදී මේවා ඉක්මන් කරනවද?
ඇත්තම සක්‍රිය වෙලා තියෙනවා. මොකද බැරියර් එක හැරියේ ඉන්න.
එමතුමා 20 වෙනි ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථා සංශෝධනයේ දැන් පළාත් සභා මට්ටමින් මේ පරාජයට පත් වෙගෙන යනවා. මොකද්ද මේ කුමන්ත්‍රණයක්ද සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ?
ඔය ඉතින් එතකොට අපිට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ තීන්දුව ගන්න වෙනවා.
Yes, so we will have to take decisions through the parliament. The accepted policy is to hold all provincial council elections on the same day. After that, we will look into having the presidential election and the general election on the same day.
එමතුමා නමුත් දැන් මේ පළාත් සභා තියෙන්නේත් බලය තියෙන්නේත් ආණ්ඩුවටම තමයි. නමුත් ඒ පළාත් සභා මට්ටමින් මේ විදිහට පරාජය සැලසුම් සහගතව පරාජය කරන්නේ මොකක් හරි කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් සිද්ධ වෙනවද?
ඒකත් ඔයාලා බලන්න ඕන.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa alleges that the new Inland Revenue Bill even taxes alms given to village temples. He made this remark yesterday following a religious ceremony at the Jayasumana Temple in Kahatarupa in Badulla.
The new revenue bill has been presented in Parliament. It will be taken on the 6th of next month. It allows the government to tax religious places of the country. Even the alms given to village temples will be taxed according to this new act. Under my regime, there were 222 establishments or institutes exempt from taxation. Those were included in 44 pages of the act. The new act reduced establishment exempt from tax to just 2 pages.
The former president also spoke about the proposal regarding a new constitution.
Most things can be accomplished within the present constitution. A new constitution is not needed. In any case, we can introduce amendments to the constitution. The present government only transacts with a team that never respects the chief prelates of the country.
In one of our headline stories, human rights groups led by the International Truth and Justice Project filed lawsuits against the former general of the Sri Lanka Army, Jagat Jayasuriya, over alleged war crimes during the final stages of the conflict with the LTTE. International media says lawsuits filed allege that military units overseen by the former general attacked hospitals and committed other serious offences. Former General Jagat Jayasuriya is currently the ambassador to Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina and Suriname.
The 30-year civil war between the government forces and terrorist group the LTTE ended in 2009. As per the lawsuit, former General Jayasuriya, who commanded the Vani Security Force from 2007 to 2009, is accused of overlooking military units which are alleged to have perpetrated war crimes. Former General Jayasuriya was appointed ambassador to Brazil in 2015 following his retirement from the military. Human rights groups state that despite their efforts, Sri Lankan government has refused to investigate the actions of former General Jayasuriya. Speaking to foreign media, Executive Director, International Truth and Justice Project Yasmin Suka alleged that Ambassador Jayasuriya was tipped off and he skipped from Brazil the day before yesterday. Spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Mahishini Kolonne, however, countered the claims and was quoted in foreign media as saying that Ambassador's departure from Brazil was pre-planned and he has not fled as some media reports allege. The allegations levelled against former General Jayasuriya were also raised at the cabinet media briefing today.
From the moment the civil war concluded, various allegations were brought against the government and the military. In every instance, we have denied them as they were false accusations. We will continue to deny these false accusations. In fact, even though we succeeded in ending terrorism in a military capacity, these false allegations show that the ideology of terrorism still continues. We once again deny the allegations brought upon the general. Some think that all action during the course of a civil war are murders or violations of human rights. We do not hold that opinion because we decided as a country to defeat terrorism through war. Defeating terrorism is one thing and we have succeeded.
State Minister of Public Enterprise Development Lakshmanyapa Abewardena says certain factions are attempting to mislead the public on the limit imposed on field officers in contesting local government elections. He made the remarks addressing a media briefing today.
It was Chairman of the Elections Commission who requested limits for field officers' ability to contest elections. Under those limits, they still can contest, but they should cease their duties at their respective electoral wards at least a year prior to elections. As a party, we tried our best to uphold their rights. I believe there is an attempt to mislead the public on this issue.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksha's claim to be chairman of the SLFP was also discussed.
We
have invited all officials of the party. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa is the former chairman of the SLFP, not the present one. He claimed on media that he is the SLFP chairman. Perhaps he forgot that he was speaking in front of the banner of a different party.
More local stories on the other side of this break. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Climate change is one of the many issues faced by the world today, but has sadly taken a backseat in the faces of geopolitics, terrorism and nuclear conflict. When climate change strikes the first blow, however, Sri Lanka will be affected inevitably. Our Department of Meteorology says the weather may swing like a pendulum from wet to dry, and it won't be that pretty.
Towering smokestacks, belching vast amounts of grey fumes, were once seen as a symbol of prosperity and development. Today, we know what they deliver so abundantly. A cocktail of gases that wreak havoc in the Earth's atmosphere, forming acid rains, destroying the ozone layer, which protects us from harmful solar radiation, and above all, putting the so-called greenhouse effect into overdrive. In moderation, the greenhouse effect is one of the reasons why planet Earth is covered with life. Carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane and some other gases which are naturally present in the air help trap just enough solar energy to prevent the Earth from freezing over. But when human activities such as burning firewood or fossil fuel release these gases in excess, they trap too much heat, raising global temperatures, melting polar ice and changing long-established climatic patterns. In Sri Lanka, Director General of the Department of Meteorology, S. Premalal, says climate change could make the weather vary between extremes and predicting those extremes will be harder than ever.
Even in Sri Lanka, what we observed, variability of rainfall. That means, that we are getting more rain at a few days. Consequently, we are getting dry conditions. That drought period. That is what we observed for the rainfall pattern.
As temperatures reach sweltering levels over the Indian Ocean, more water evaporates from the surface. Increasing amounts of water vapor in the atmosphere bring down increasingly heavy rainfall on Sri Lanka. According to scientific projections, if steps are taken to mitigate climate change, rainfall will see a decrease in the dry zone and a slight increase in the wet zone within the period 2020 to 2040. From 2040 to 2090, rainfall will increase across the island. If this sounds bad, let's now take a look at the worst-case scenario. Without any climate change mitigation efforts, projections from 2020 to 2090 show an unprecedented increase in rainfall across the island, leaving the door open to catastrophic flooding and devastating landslides. Meanwhile, tropical cyclones may increase in strength and the El Niño phenomenon may terrorize the global climate much more frequently than before. Unless the Sri Lankan public can change their ways to face the changing climate and the flooding and landslides that come with it, utter disaster is in store. Is there no hope? There is, but time is running out.
We have to act positively to reduce emission of carbon dioxide. Those are the things the world community is discussing now. According to that future projection, temperature will be increased by 4 degrees in 2100. All global communities now that trying to limit that 4 degrees for 2 degrees. That is to reduce the effect from climate change.
Experts, however, fear that the current strength of global climate action may not be enough. The policies of some world leaders are not helping either.
The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord.
What we fail to see, however, is that man-made climate change is a form of war we wage on our own selves and on our future generations.
Something to be really concerned about. Let's move on to other local stories now. The Attorney General's Department today informed the Presidential Commission on Bond Issuance that the IT executive of Perpetual Treasuries Limited lied to the Criminal Investigations Department during investigations yesterday. The Commission went on to record statements from IT executive Sachit Devatantri today for the second day.
The Presidential Commission initially recorded statements from Perpetual Treasury's IT executive Sachit Devatantri yesterday. He was questioned over the PABX system which recorded the telephone conversations at the company. Prior to his testimony before the Commission, he told the CID that he obtained the assistance of an engineer to advise the company's PABX system. However, the Commission was informed by the AG department that the said engineer was at his home in Negombo on that day and not engaged in any official work. Accordingly, Additional Solicitor General President's Counsel Yasantha Kodagoda told the Commission that Devatantri lied to CID officials. Meanwhile, the Commission also granted permission for the telephone recordings taken from the PABX system to be gone through in order to continue investigations.
The funeral proceedings of late Minister A.H.M. Azwar took place at the Devala Jumma Mosque this evening.
The late Minister of Muslim and Parliamentary Affairs passed away at the age of 80 while receiving treatment at a private hospital yesterday. The body was brought to his residence in Dehiwala last night around 11 p.m. Born in 1937, the former minister pursued his professional career as a teacher and a journalist before entering the field of politics. He joined the SLFP in 2008 and at the time of his passing, he was affiliated to the United National Party.
A small radio exploded today, injuring a 13-year-old student in Pittugala, Malambe. The explosion occurred when the said radio was being plugged into the electricity supply. The police, however, said the device looked to be a small bomb packaged as a radio.
The student from Bandaruela was at his grandmother's house for the holidays. He had picked up the radio adjacent to an air conditioner repair workshop yesterday and had plugged it into the electricity supply amidst protestations of the grandmother. The explosion had left burns on the child's hands, chest and legs, and he was immediately admitted to the Colombo National Hospital. The room in which the radio exploded has sustained considerable damage. Judging by the manner in which it exploded and evident lacing of iron within the device, the police said that it looks to be a bomb packaged as a radio.
Newly appointed Chief of Defence Staff Admiral Ravindra Vijay Gunaratne met with Premier Ranil Wickremesinghe at Temple Trees yesterday. Now with that, let's take a look at other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Admiral Ravindra Vijay Gunaratne held cordial discussions with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Subsequently, Admiral Vijay Gunaratne presented a memento to the Premier. The students' movement against Saitam continued its satyagraha, calling on the government to abolish Saitam in front of the Fort railway station for the 10th consecutive day today. Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundar says the attitudes and sentiments during the 30-year conflict still remain. He was addressing an event held to celebrate the opening of the Mipe police station. An unidentified group attacked several houses in Valiganga in Gampola last night, causing heavy damage. The attack occurred following the arrest of 3 youths over shoplifting in a neighbouring village.
On to international news now. Tropical storm Harvey made a second landfall near the border of U.S. state Texas and Louisiana today, dousing a region that has already had heavy rainfall this summer with bands of heavy rains that could lead to catastrophic flooding. The rainfall that devastated Houston is now moving east, and the U.S. National Weather Service says that it could dump an additional 200 to 300 millimeters of rain.
The storm that first came ashore on Friday as the most powerful hurricane to hit Texas in over 50 years has killed 17 people and forced tens of thousands to leave deluged homes. There's some relief for Houston, the 4th most populous city in the US, with forecasters saying 5 days of torrential rain may come to an end as the storm that has lingered in the Gulf of Mexico picks up speed and leaves the region later in the day. But that movement has seen the storm making landfall again, and the state of Louisiana has beefed up its emergency responses, doubling up on boats, helicopters and high water vehicles. Harvey is expected to bring winds of up to 65 kilometers per hour and a storm surge of up to 1.3 meters along the border of the 2 states.
In one of our headline stories, North Korea says its firing of a missile over Japan was a first step of military operations in the Pacific, signaling plans for more launches. The United Nations Security Council has unanimously condemned North Korea for the test, which created alarm in the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido.
While calling yesterday's test the first step in their Pacific operations, North Korean state media repeated threats to the US Pacific island of Guam, which it called an advanced base of invasion. Meeting late last night in New York, the UN Security Council called the launch outrageous, demanding North Korea cease all missile testing but not threatening new sanctions against Pyongyang. Russia and China said US military activity in the region was partly to blame for the increase in tensions. On a visit to Japan, British Prime Minister Theresa May today called on China to put more pressure on North Korea, saying that Beijing had a key role in the international response to Pyongyang's reckless provocation.
On to business news now. Colombo equities fell for a second session today, ending near a more than 4-month closing low hit last week as investors sold shares of banks and beverage companies. The Colombo stock index fell 0.13% to 6,390. Analysts said the lack of retail participation is the main reason for the market slide. Foreign investors were net buyers of 89.5 million rupees worth of shares today, extending the year-to-date net foreign inflow into equities to 27.6 billion rupees. Now, the Sri Lankan rupee closed slightly weaker today as imported dollar demand from foreign banks surpassed the exporters' greenback sales. The spot rupee ended at 152 rupees and 80 cents per dollar, compared with yesterday's close of 152 rupees and 75 cents per dollar. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other currencies during the day today. On to sports now. Test cricket came to the fore again yesterday in a day that sent shockwaves and awe through the cricketing world as Bangladesh picked up their maiden Test victory against visitors Australia. A thrilling fourth day in Dhaka saw the host win by just 20 runs, with Shakib Al Hasan cementing his status as the game's leading all-rounder with a vital first innings 84 and matches figures of 10 wickets for 153 runs.
Yesterday was only Bangladesh's 10th Test win in their 101st game, although it looked unlikely at the start of the fourth innings as Australian opener David Warner produced a brilliant century. Warner's knock was even more valiant as it came on a deteriorating Mirpur pitch, but it came in vain as his teammates capitulated. Australian captain Steve Smith managed 37 at the top of the order, but while the middle faltered, fast bowler Pat Cummins gave the visitors hope with an unbeaten 33. But number 11 Josh Hazlewood fell LBW with 20 runs still to get, and Bangladesh erupted.
On to our weather forecast for tomorrow now. Showery conditions over the country are expected to strengthen during the next few days, particularly in the northern, north central, eastern, and southern provinces. Heavy falls, about 100 millimeters, are also expected in some areas. Showers or thunder showers will occur over most parts of the island after 2 p.m. Let's now take a look at your city-by-city forecast. And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7 with the latest on local, international, base sports and weather. We will return tomorrow first at 9. Be sure to join us then. I am Mahesh Johnny, and before we go, we'd like to take you to the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region where an eye-catching performance was recently held highlighting the region's traditional equestrian cultural elements. Nearly 400 performers and 120 horses participated in the performance. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.